Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, it's David here and welcome back to another ATLUS News episode. Today we have two topics to discuss. I'm going to start by giving you guys an update on the sales of the Persona franchise, which reached a brand new milestone, and then we'll talk about the future of Persona with that in mind, those big ass sales, and then we're going to discuss a potential leak of a release date for my most anticipated game of the year, of course being Metaphor ReFantazio. So if you're new to the channel, you'd like to stay up to date on all things when it comes to ATLUS News, you're at the right place. Make sure you subscribe, ring that notification bell as well, and a quick thumbs up if you like the video is a huge help. Now let's get right into it. And last night, ATLUS put out a promotional video recreating the intro of Persona 3 in Persona 3 Reload style. Very dope video, but that was to announce that the Persona franchise sold 22 million copies worldwide. So that is across all games, across mainline games, and also across spin-offs on all different platforms. So I think it's fair to say that Persona is at its peak at the moment. 22 million copies sold is an insane number. There is not a lot of JRPG franchises that are able to reach such a milestone. I can count a few, like Final Fantasy did, Dragon Quest did, like some of the longest running series. But when you talk about other series like a Neon Falcon series or something from Bandai Namco, they don't reach those numbers. So it's very, very impressive stuff. Persona is now bigger than it's ever been, and it's great to see for sure, because when ATLUS succeeds, we also get more games, more investment. And I know some of y'all might say, oh, but what does it mean for other ATLUS franchises like new IPs like a Metaphor ReFantazio or stuff like Soul Hackers, which is not looking too hot at the moment, or even mainline SMT? What's going to happen with SMT? And I'm probably going to discuss that topic in another video, but I'm not too worried for SMT because SMT is also doing better than it's ever been before, and SMT5 Vengeance is going to break records. I'm very confident about that, so it's just looking great all around for ATLUS. Now, when you ask about the future of Persona, I think there's a lot of possibilities. I mean, Persona at the moment, we don't know what's next. We don't know if there's another spin-off that's gonna happen with a Persona 5 spin-off, maybe another one on top of the big ass pile, or maybe they're gonna do Persona 6. Maybe we get a reveal for Persona 6 in the near future. That's a definite possibility as well. But if you ask me, I think the next thing that we see from Persona is something that we discussed in another news episode last week, talking about Persona 5 The Phantom X. I think this is the next game in the Persona series that we'll see officially unveiled and launched worldwide. So Persona 5 The Phantom X is the mobile/PC gacha game. It looks really good for what it is, so I'm keeping an eye on it, but I think this is the next news that we'll see for Persona, a global release for Persona 5 The Phantom X, because the beta in Asia did way too well for it not to release worldwide. So I think that's the next step. Now after that, there's of course rumors about a Persona 2 duology remake, Persona 1 remake, and a Persona 4 remake. So basically everything that isn't 4 years old or more recent is getting remade at this point. So we might see something, but I don't think that's in the near future at all. I'm thinking Persona 5 The Phantom X and then Persona 6. I think this is where we're at now, and then we'll get a ton of Persona 6 spin-offs probably. So that, to me, is the future of Persona. Now, if we move on to the next bit of news, it's really interesting stuff. It's something that Midori pointed out a few days ago when ATLUS announced that Metaphor ReFantazio can now be wish-listed on your favorite digital stores, so PlayStation Store, the Windows Store, and the Xbox Store. And on one of the Windows Store page, I think it's for Korea, there is a date that is mentioned for Metaphor ReFantazio, and to me, that is a date that makes sense. So if you look at it, the date is for October 12th to 2024, which is really, really interesting because that would be a Saturday. Now, Midori points out that, generally speaking, the Hong Kong, so see it's from Hong Kong Windows site, Windows Store page, generally speaking, they're wrong for 1 day or so, so that would make it the 11th of October 2024, which makes way more sense. Friday releases for ATLUS and Sega are typical. An October release date for Metaphor ReFantazio makes a lot of sense. It's late 2024, it's what they announced, fall 2024, so I think this is probably accurate information. It could just be a placeholder date. It's possible the game gets pushed. I know a lot of you guys mentioned this in some of my comment sections saying, oh, Metaphor is probably going to get pushed. Hey, if you look at recent Atlus games, delays are not frequent anymore. It used to be a big thing at Atlus, but now games are releasing when they're supposed to release. And the thing that brings me the most confidence about ReFantazio is the fact that they waited so long to unveil that project. When they dropped the trailer in the Xbox showcase last year, they showed the gameplay, they gave us the name, they gave us the release window. To me, that means they're confident about, hey, the game's finally ready. They took their sweet time with it. The game's been unveiled in 2015, so it's almost been a decade. And back then, it was just Project ReFantazio, was concept art and everything. It was really early, and now we have gameplay. We even had a showcase with the developers talking about the game. So I'm confident that the game's gonna make it in fall 2024. Is it going to be October 11th, 2024? Maybe, maybe not. It's a Windows page, Windows Store page, so to me that sounds reliable, but it's not a leak like, let's say, when SMT5 Vengeance was rated in a ratings board a few weeks back before the game was revealed. That's a leak, that's confirmed information, because it's information that got out too early. A ratings board, something that you can believe 1000%. A site putting a date up, could be wrong. I mean, we see placeholder dates all the time. Even PlayAsia last year had a listing for Persona 3 Reload on Switch with a placeholder date because they're like, hey, it's probably going to be on Switch as well. It was not, so they took it off. It's kind of the same thing with a digital storefront, in my opinion, except it's a little more reliable than a random retailer like PlayAsia, which could be just speculating on stuff to make sure they have placeholder for their products that they want to sell as quickly as possible, right? So let me know what you think about the Persona franchise selling over 22 million copies worldwide, and of course, tell me what you think of Metaphor ReFantazio potentially launching October 11th, 2024. Makes sense to me, but doesn't make sense to you. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. As always, if you like the video, a thumbs up is a big help. You have a great day, y'all. Bye.